newcomer, maybe you can introduce yourself. My name is Anne. I'm seeing your name here as your mom. Jennifer.
Maybe chat the person.
I'm looking for Jennifer now. Are you still on?
Yes, I am.
I'm saying you have converted I was thinking I'd be co-host. Will you be able to?
Can you change it back to me? I did that by mistake. Can just change it back to me.
Okay.
Just make me the host. Go back. But you can, what do you have the access? Because you'd have done live on Facebook now, when you still have the access.
What I want is the YouTube, put it on YouTube, then I do a watch party.
Okay. So we have 19 attendees. I think we can start.
Okay.
Before we start, who's joined? Who's this? We don't have one panelist name.
Okay, I need to.
So
maybe we all put our videos on just for a second, then I'll be able to know.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Esther, I see you. Maureen, I see you.
It's Patricia that's missing.
There's an account that has joined with Nero Moms. I'd like to know. Okay.
Can I remove them?
No. It's fine. I'm just requesting that you make me co-host so that I'm able to help you. Co-host, not host. Thank you. I think we're good to go.
Okay, who else is joining from Color?
Who's joined?
I don't know. Someone from Color has joined. So we have 27 attendees. I think we should start now.
Yeah.
We start at 20:05. One more minute.
We can start at 20:05 so that we have 5 minutes of introductions. Then at 8:10, we hit the road. Thank God Esther is here and she's fast. Okay, it's now 8:05. I think we are in time. Yes, we are. Hi everyone, and welcome to our gig work chat. I've been looking forward to this night for 6 days now from our last flash chat on WhatsApp. And I welcome you to this event, this grand event, whereby we are going to be dealing with matters gig economy. For everyone, whether you attended the flash chat or not, this is a fresh start. It's like, grand finale, come new So feel free to interact on the chat. Feel free to raise your hand when you need to ask anything. We have our panelists with us, and we have 1.5 hours of learning. Okay, one hour, 35 minutes from now. Yes, so karibuni tena sana. And yes, we are going to have a good one. I'm going to hand this over to Maureen Amakabane of Nyayo Moms, SOCOS, and then you can introduce Kala as well as Nyayo Moms.
Okay, thanks, Anne, for that warm introduction. And thank you, everyone, for finding time, both the panelists and the participants, to plug in for other Mondays. So every Monday, we've been doing flash chats to just have conversations around opportunities that exist in the digital platform. And I think they're endless. The opportunities are endless. I think yesterday somebody shared on a WhatsApp group that I'm on, somebody shared a conversation that a young man was saying, you know, I want to find a job that will not make me leave my coach, you know, and how the conversation had started was people saying, oh, this person is lazy. And then I said, maybe they should actually just work from their coach. And that's very possible. So my name is Maureen Amakabane. I'm the founder for Nyayo Moms. And really what we look to do at Moms is to empower women in different types of ways. So we run a digital platform, which is a marketplace that operates every morning from 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the evening, and then we close it down. So this is just one of the avenues that we've put together for women to be able to transact. We also trade and train and also do other activities, for example, this. So for this particular event, we've partnered with Kala, and I see there's somebody from Kala who's going to introduce their company. And what really we've been doing for the last 4 weeks is to have conversations with women on our WhatsApp platform every Monday to talk about opportunities that exist on the digital platform. So ideally today, we want to just meet you. We want to hear your questions. We want to really have an engagement. And karibuni. And over to you.
Asante sana, Maureen. I can see you took my lessons well and didn't take much time. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'd like someone from Kala to speak in the next 2 minutes before we start off with our first panelist. Oh, before we do that, I can see there are 2 raised hands, Sarah and Regina. Let me give you this chance before we proceed. Let's start with Sarah. Feel free to unmute yourself. Hi, Sarah. Okay. Regina Akumba. All right. Maybe it was erroneously raised.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, hi, Regina.
How are you? I was just trying out because, I was trying it out to find out if it's working because you're 3 hours ahead. I'm in the UK.
Awesome, awesome. And now that it has been up, allow me to ask you, what's your expectation of tonight? What is it that you want to take home at the end of this?
A lot, because I saw on the Maureen's status, the panelists. And I'm here to learn a lot and pick a lot. Yeah, that's all.
Awesome. You're in the right place.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Asante.
Okay. It is now 8:10. I will introduce our first panelist, Esther Kinuthia. This is a lady that I have followed and she does not know I follow, but today I've put a face to the name. Yes, and I'm thinking, wow, she looks even more amazing than her accomplishments. Let me just give you a brief of Esther in a nutshell. Esther Kinuthia is a young inspirational digital expert based in Dublin, Ireland. Is it Dublin or Dublin?
Dublin.
Thank you, Dublin, Ireland. She has experience working at Google, Facebook, and recently graduated from Trinity Business School with a master's degree in digital marketing strategy. She runs a youth motivational blog known as Miss Independent Blog, where her mission is to inform, inspire, and ignite the African youth. She's also the co-founder of Young Kenyans in Tech, a community that unites sharp youth techies in Kenya to collaborate on job and entrepreneurship related conversations. She's currently a master's student at HEC Paris, pursuing entrepreneurship and innovation. Esther Kinuthia, karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Anne, for such a warm introduction and for also supporting my journey. I really appreciate it. And it's interesting now that I'm contributing to the great work that you're doing. So yeah, I'm excited to be here and conscious of time. I'd like to get started. I'd like to request for access to be able to present. It's telling me host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, just a second.
Go ahead now.
Okay, let's do this. Perfect, it's working now. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So we'll get started. So today, before I attempted to participate, I asked Anne to understand the audience that I have today. And I understand that we have amazing women building businesses and they would like to leverage digital platforms to grow their businesses. So I've created this presentation based on the information that Anne has told me. And the topic of the day is understanding how you can build your online presence. And so that I can set the context, I created this presentation in a way that it is actually actionable from your perspective, and I'll still give you guidance on what you can do to try and get more digital help. So today, get excited knowing that today you can do these things. So when we look at online assets, we can think about them as social media profiles. So for example, if you have a Facebook account, TikTok, Snapchat, it could be a YouTube channel. Like for example, today we are live streaming on YouTube. You could have a Google My Business website page. This is a platform where Google enables businesses launch a website very quickly. You could either have your website, you could have a blog, you could have an app or a LinkedIn business profile. So these are the main online assets that we use, and how we use them will really influence how we perform online. So we have to think about certain best practices and don't take them for granted, even if they sound small. The first one is use the same profile name and handle where possible. Sometimes your name could be taken, but where possible, try and use the same handles and profile picture and on your online profile. And should you decide to switch in one at any single point, maybe you took a nice picture and you change it on Facebook, try and change it on Instagram and all that. It will help you with trust and brand building. It makes it easy for people to recognize you and so on. Ensure your about section and contact information is up to date. I have consulted for thousands of businesses, and I'm telling you, I have seen businesses that have not updated this section. When you don't update it, you're just sending vibes that you cannot be trusted. If you cannot be trusted with changing your about section, how can I trust the quality of your product or your service? Ensure you upload high quality images and videos. The goal is not just to pick up your phone and take pictures and share. You have a business. You need to be able to show the quality of your product. Take nice pictures. We live in a time and day where mobile phones are easily accessible with really good cameras. So just take good pictures. If you have the financial capacity, work with a great photographer. By the way, I have a really good contact that I can give you for a great photographer. It's called Mos Mwaniki if you want to check him out online. And then create a catchy hashtag and use it all in the images and videos you upload, at least where relevant, right? So it doesn't have to go with everything, but at least where relevant, use it. It will help you with your brand building, and it can also help with searches. And then high quality and consistent content is important. I don't know how to emphasize on the high quality. Just do not compromise for the sake of uploading a picture. If you don't have a quality picture, don't upload it. It has to be high quality. It's your business. It's like, whenever you're getting married, you dress up to go see the in-laws. Treat your business like that as well, and be consistent, because you need to keep on encouraging people about who you are. Respond to all your inboxes within 48 hours. If possible, 24, but I'm going to give you 48. It's probably even a lot, to be honest, in this time and day where people are getting information very quickly. People value this. On LinkedIn, I respond to people's inboxes because personally it's courteous. I believe if somebody has taken time to message me, I should at least respond to them. I didn't think that people actually noticed this thing. And when I was training one of the businesses, somebody came and told me, Esther, here you respond to LinkedIn messages. I found that a very interesting attribute that someone is telling me, about myself. And that's when I realized, people actually look at these things. So respond to messages, show professionalism, be kind, and all that kind of stuff. Share customer success stories. Blow your own trumpet. In Kenya, we're a very modest society. You're told, relax, cheza chini, or I don't know, all that kind of stuff, where you're scared to blow your own trumpet. Blow your trumpet. It is that trumpet that you blow that is going to pay the bills, and paying the bills is all that we're happy about, and making profit. So sell yourself and share real success stories. Share as much information as required about your products and service. People cannot read your mind. They don't know anything and they don't care. It's up to you to communicate in a highly, eloquent, exciting way. Don't look spammy. Don't use all those emojis. I don't know, fires. I don't know, arrows, and I don't know, knives. You're just gonna look like a spam person. But share high quality information. Help people really understand what your product and service is about. We are not mind readers, and we don't owe you anything. So communicate. Update your website as required. Honestly, I have helped big businesses, especially like malls, and then you look at their page. I don't know where the noise is coming from. If that person can mute, that would be really helpful. Yeah, so I've helped like big malls, and maybe when I'm reviewing their website, I see that they have an event posted for like literally last year. They have not removed it. Please update your website as required. You don't want to send the wrong signals to anyone. You're paying for that website anyway, so you might as well use it appropriately. Stick to your brand. Avoid politics, religion, and any other topics that can be controversial. Have your own separate social media platform if you want to talk about BBI, Brexit, and all that kind of stuff. This is your business. The focus is the business. So focus on the business. Avoid emotional things that can make people associate your brand either negatively or positively. Just avoid. That would be my own personal recommendation. In terms of website best practices, your site should load within 4 seconds. Okay? So I'll show you a trick on how you can test your site. You'll just need to go on Google and type Google page speed. Right? Actually, no. Type in Google page think with Google mobile speed test. Type that. You're gonna get this link. I'm gonna try the first one, hoping it's the one. Yes, and it's free. So you enter your domain. So we'll choose Amazon, because Amazon is a very huge company. They have thousands of products, actually millions of products and all that kind of stuff. So as that loads, basically you have no excuse. Your site should load within 4 seconds. You do not have like a huge, you don't have a lot of content like Amazon. So if Amazon can load within 4 seconds, your site should load within 2 seconds, if not 1. The reason why we're telling you this is people get bored, right? Like if your site is not loading, they're going to leave. So you can see, can you imagine Amazon loads within 1.8 seconds? Amazon, you know how huge that site is. It's heavy, but it loads within 1.8 seconds because they understand if your site is not loading, people are going to get bored and leave your site. So I think I've emphasized that a lot. It will influence everything, your sales, your customer experience, literally everything that is in relation to digital experience of your customers. It's just non-negotiable. And then a few facts in terms of website best practices: use high quality images. So I think I missed something, sorry, previous slide. Yeah, so Google has published a lot of data, about websites and all that. So I picked up two important ones. It's very important that your site is mobile optimized. A lot of users in Africa use mobile phones to access the internet, over 90% of it. So it's important that your website is highly mobile optimized. And just to give you 2 data points, 60% of smartphone users have contacted a business directly using the search result. So you can see that's a huge percentage. And this is global and probably even influenced like the US. If you look at Africa or Kenya alone, this number could be like 90. 58% of smartphone users feel more favorable toward companies whose mobile sites or apps remember who they are and their past behavior. So if you can work with a website developer that can help you create a site that can remember people and recommend products to them, this will really, really help, will really be helpful for your businesses. And then, sorry, I just want to go next. Yeah. Use high quality images. It sounds like such a cliche. Again, I have consulted for so many businesses and I have seen all sorts of images. Please, as I said, just like the way you would go see your in-laws, you go make a new garment to look good and to impress the in-laws. Please do the same, have the same energy, and have high quality images in your site. This is your business. And then the last few things that I would say is, so a good place to start if you want to create your own website, you can check out Squarespace, Wix, Blogger, or WordPress. But I would strongly recommend you to go to Brainverse Technologies. It's a tech company in Kenya, and they have great website services. I actually outsource their services as well. So I'll show you guys my website. If you also want to consult my services, so this is my site, which Brainverse created for me. We were so excited. We're actually in the final stages of ensuring that the site is mobile optimized. So in case you check out missindependentblog.com, yeah, feel free to check it out. We're working on it. But yeah, Brainverse is such an amazing team. I'm really happy with the site that they built for me. Again, I've been in this business for so long, and I know SMBs, they're tired. You just want to get the work done. I'd highly recommend these guys. If you want to work with me as a digital marketer, please feel free to come to my site. You just click here, book a digital marketing session, and then it will give you some time slots. Book the time slot that you want, and let's have a chat. You choose the plan that you'd like to go for, and book an appointment. I would recommend you work with me, not because it's me, but I've seen a lot of businesses making a lot of mistakes because either they didn't work with the right person or they're trying to do what they should not do. It's like going to a dentist and telling the dentist what to do to your tooth. You trust him to do what he has gone to school to learn. So I'd highly recommend you reach out. This is my email as well, digitalnawiri@gmail.com, in case you want to ask me questions. And I'd be very excited to understand how to grow your business. So I don't want to take much more time. That's me, and I'm looking forward to some questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Esther. I thought I know a lot about online stuff, but in the 15 minutes you've spoken, I feel like there was too much for me to learn. Like there was a lot. So what I can do is, first of all, for every recommendation you have made, I would request you to also chat, write it on the chat.
Okay, sure.
Yes, so we can also get your website there, your email address, as well as any referral that you have given to us.
All right,
So
I'll do that.
I'll open it up a bit for a few questions for the next 5 minutes from the ladies feel free to raise your hand, then I will pick you.
Niongee kidogo.
Delphine, karibu sana.
Asante sana. Hi, can I be heard?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for the platform. Thank you, Madam Esther Kinuthia, for kind words. We have learned a lot. I have one question.
Of course.
My question is, you have talked about emojis.
Yes.
And you have said that we should not be using emojis in our marketing platforms.
No, I didn't say don't use emojis. I just said, how you use them is important. And, don't use them in a way that just reads, it's like you're a spam person. Those people who have a lot of offers get $800 within 3 days, and then they put a lot of X's and like huge, a lot of money, get in today, sign up today, arrows, I don't know what. Yes, they attract attention. My personal opinion is they come across as spam-like, because that's how people who want to scam people communicate. Get rich quick schemes. That's what they try to do. Get money today on YouTube, sign up, let me tell you. You don't want to sound like that. Just be professional, and create good content. When you create good content that is exciting, when you take good pictures, when you take high quality videos, this is why it's important to work with a digital marketing expert, because these are the kind of things that you talk about, your content strategy, so that you attract attraction and attention based on high quality content. Yeah.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. Anyone else? Esther, I'm transferring your contacts.
Oh, I just realized I was sending to panelists. I'll start sending to panelists and attendees. Thank you, though.
And there's some questions in the chat box.
There's one, and it was not a question. There's not a question. Oh, yes, I've seen it.
Pick me.
There are 2 questions.
I would like to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Vicky. Thank you very much. The presentation is awesome. I'm enjoying myself, but I missed something. Did you say digital assets or digital access? And then the second question is, where is it? How does one overcome the fear of being in the social media and to make it professional instead of making it personal? How do you advise someone to go about it?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because this is something that I personally hadn't thought about when I joined the social media space. I think we're all figuring out by the time Facebook was being launched and all that kind of stuff. But what I can advise you is separate your social media platforms with your businesses. Your business is your business, right? So if you have a product or a service, the pictures that you're putting online are strictly related to your product or service or testimonials and all that kind of stuff. So in this regard, you would not have any issue with, I'm concerned of putting myself out there, because you're not putting yourself out there, you're putting your business out there. That's number one. You have your personal profile. If you want to be private, fantastic. If you don't want to post pictures, who cares? It doesn't matter. That is not your bread and butter. So separate those two.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana, Vicky. From anonymous attendee, she says, do you have any tips on how to convert Instagram followers to customers?
That's a very good question. Yeah, that's a very good question. And the truth is, there is no single answer, because if you think about it, Instagram is being used by millions of customers from different backgrounds. Some are B2B, business to businesses, some are business to customers, someone is in finance, someone is selling, I don't know, flat tummy drinks, someone else is selling bags, someone else is selling shoes. So the strategies of converting these people will be different, right? So, but in a nutshell, I would say having a high quality product, number one. It's important to understand that digital tools are like fuel, but the car has to be made. Okay, so if the car is not good, if you don't have a car, the fuel will not be used. If you have a funny car, it will just do the job of a funny car. If you have a really good car, it will do a good job for a good car. So you have to have a great product. So as an entrepreneur, you have to invest in that. And once you're assured that you have a really great product, you've done your pricing, you've done your promotion and all that kind of stuff. Now it's communicating it to the customers. So for example, I'm going to show you my Primrose oil. They're good for the skin and regulating hormones. It's a very good product, by Holland and Barrett. So when I look at the ingredients, I'm like, wow, this is great. And I see, they're quality assured. So they've done the background, they've done the good work of ensuring that they're quality assured. So by the time that they're marketing to me, I'm like, okay, nice. And then if, let's say, they upload pictures of before and after, or people who used these pills over a period of 3 months, I'm like, what? This is how Esther looked in January, and this is how Esther looks in July. What? Let me buy these pills. If I see they've done a post of these are the minor side effects of the pill, and then I'm like, okay, not too bad. Actually those side effects, nausea, it's not bad. And then that's it. So I see that this is a business that is very transparent, and they're not hiding that the fact that these pills can sometimes make you nauseous. And then, if they tell me, where I can go pick it up, or if they can deliver, we deliver right to your doorstep. The information is very clear. You shouldn't make people beg for information. No one owes you anything. So you have to really communicate to them exactly what they need to understand, communicate the benefits, and then connect your product to an existing problem. And, if somebody sees that, they're likely going to convert. But then again, it's important to mention that there's a lot of competition online. They're not the only people selling Primrose oil. So why should I buy them? And everyone else is also doing maybe a really good job. So content strategy becomes very important here, and working with an expert who will help you with, it's a continuous journey, by the way, to set that context. You don't always get it right from day one, and things are always changing. A new competitor can come, change the game for everyone. Yeah. So, but I hope I've given you something to work with at this stage.
Hi, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, regarding images,
Mm-hmm.
photos. How do you get quality images if you have just a nice phone, or just an average phone, not necessarily iPhone S21, all that?
So it's important, for all of us to appreciate, photographers for the work that they do, right? The way we go to a dentist, the way we go to a doctor is the same way we go to a photographer. So there's a lot there in photography that we all don't know. Even I'm not a photographer. And that's why it's good to outsource these kind of services from photographers. And the reason why I would encourage you to go to a photographer is you can pay a photographer a one-off charge. Maybe even if they charge you, let's say, 10,000 shillings to do your images and your videos. It's one of lots of products, different angles, and a nice video that you can keep on resharing. So your job is just to upload. So this is something I'd really encourage you. Just invest, cash and get good products. If this is something that is extremely out of, you can't really access this kind of luxury, you can try and get a white tile. Those tiles for any tile are like a white background, and just ensure that when you're taking the image of the product up like this, the white file, is surrounding the image with enough space so that it's very clear the only focus is on the product. So you can get that white tile. There are all these kind of products for like DIYs. You can search online. I've forgotten the name, but there's a product. It's like a box. It's like a box. You can insert the product and then it has lights and then you can take pictures of it. So you can check online. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name, but you can check online for such a thing and just buy it and take pictures with your phone. You can task yourself with learning how to take pictures on the phone. You can watch videos on YouTube how to take good photography pictures of your products. You can watch any videos that you can find online and just try. I'd still advise you to go to a photographer. That is a lot of time for you as an entrepreneur because you want to spend time building your business. I'm going to send most money numbers shortly. This is the guy I always recommend businesses to go to. I'm very shy when it comes, if you see me, I'm recommending someone, it's because I'm confident. My recommendation is my brand. So I cannot just recommend someone. He's very nice in terms of personality, and he understands how I like to work with businesses. He knows how Esther likes to think. So work with him. If you work with him and you tell him, Esther told me to come to you, I'm even happy to advise him for free how to work with you, because he's my friend as well, and I'm happy to help. Yeah.
Could you share the number, please?
Yeah, I've already pinged it in the WhatsApp, in the chat section. So feel free to save him. He's called Mos Maneki. He's such a great guy.
Okay, I've seen the number. I hope you can access it. I want to give you these last two questions.
Sure.
You can keep time. So there is one. Hi, Esther, can someone create a website if you sell Mutumba items, considering consistency of getting items that are the same is a problem? That's one. And the second one is, thanks team for the session. Question to Esther. One of the biggest fears of getting into the social media space for a small business is a reputation risk in the unlikely event of a negative review on trolls. How do you manage negative reviews in the public space?
Yeah, so on the first question, I mean, I've heard a lot about the Mutumba business, and some people become millionaires, I hear, from this kind of business model. At the end of the day, it's about thinking about your audience, right? It's not about whether you should have a website. You first need to think about your audience and how people shop in Kenya. I bought Mutumba clothes myself, and I bought them off Instagram. I was actually thinking about it. I don't even know how I trusted that girl, because I just paid online and she delivered. But there's a lot of there's cause for concern in terms of trust, especially with the Mutumba clothes. You just never know what you're seeing online is what you will get. Some people might prefer to actually just go and shop directly in your shop. So I think you really need to think about your audience and how they prefer to shop. Even talk to your customers. Hey guys, how is it shopping with me so far? Are you shopping on Instagram? Are they shopping face to face? What challenges are they facing? Based on the answers that they give you, you can now begin asking yourself whether having a website is going to be important. From the top of my mind, how I can see a website being important is people just being able to see, to know about your business and how you work. Maybe you can have a nice bio, who you are. This is where I get my clothes. This is how we wash them when we first receive them. This is how we clean them. This is how we store them. You can create a reward program. Buy from us. Every time you buy from us, you get 1 point. And after 20 points, you get a free product of your choice up to 500 shillings. So you can try and see how using a website is going to be helpful for you. There are so many things you can do. Yeah. So again, it all just depends with what you want to achieve as a business in relation to your customer needs. Yeah. With regards to the other question of trolls, that's a legit fear. And the best way to answer it is we must accept what we cannot control. There'll always be trolls. There'll always be people, to say whatever it is that they have to say. So it's important to understand that element. Number 2, what is in your control? Great customer service, a great product, and a great service. So if you communicate you are offering A, then you give A. If you say if you're going to give A and you offer B, of course somebody will come and write a negative review. So you just need to ensure that you take accountability for what is in your area and do it well. The third thing, you can encourage happy customers to leave reviews online. Somebody texts you, hey, I was so happy. Do you mind leaving that comment online to really help me? Because at least if people are able to see genuine reviews, based on, and the negative, it's a balance, and maybe the positive reviews can outweigh the negative ones.
Okay. Wow, that's great. The rest of the questions, we'll send them to the end because we still have a question and answer session. I'll just leave them here and then we are going to, Esther is going to answer them as we conclude. Right now, I want to introduce our next panelist. I'm going to go straight to Patricia Okello. So Patricia Okello is the founder of very many companies. Allow me to blow the trumpet on your behalf, Patricia. So one thing I have learned from her is that you can actually do things that are diverse and still remain in control. So a brief on Patricia just now, a second. Here we go. Patricia Okello is based in Nairobi, Kenya. She's passionate about entrepreneurship and empowering women. She's a strong believer that women entrepreneurs will be in the front line in changing Africa for the better. She's the co-author of A Candid Handbook for Women Doing Business in Kenya, primarily to encourage women to venture into entrepreneurship, as she believes that this will empower them into leadership roles. She's the founder of Candid Conversations, Kayana Creative, and Dillard Productions. She's also still working on others. So now, karibu sana, Patricia. I can already see your smile.
Super. I'm sorry, I've had to join using my mobile phone because my internet is so unstable. I think I've been kicked out like 3 times already from this meeting, which will probably mean that I don't know if Anne, you'll be able to share the presentation I shared with you. I'm not sure. Okay. So thank you everybody for joining on the call. As Anne has said, my name is Patricia Okello. I have been an entrepreneur. I feel like I'm very old. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years, and I'm currently known for Kayana, which is not really a co-working space, a community of female entrepreneurs that come together really to support each other, simply because I'm a very firm believer in the principle of abundance, and that there's enough for everybody. There's enough to go around for everybody. So I feel that the community really grows through a sense of sharing, a sense of community, a nurturing environment, and very, very collaborative. I have had the honor of listening to Esther a number of times, and every time she speaks, I'm always taking copious notes, for her knowledge on online is quite extensive. She has also covered a little bit of, actually not a little bit, quite a bit of what I was going to talk about in terms of how to hustle online and how to grow your hustle into a brand. And my background is actually in brand building. And of course, we work very collaboratively with experts in the digital space, because that is currently where all our sales, in fact, I'm sure everybody on this call who sells is selling on an online platform. So I'm not sure, Anne, if you have managed to open the presentation, but on the second slide, there was a little bit of statistics. So the presentation I'm using was one that I had done for.
Showing that sharing on my side. Are people able to see?
I can see something, but I don't think.
We can see the file, but it's not open yet.
It's not open yet. Maybe you have to double click it.
On my side, it says it, so I'm actually scrolling down.
So it may also be an internet, issue, yeah?
Okay, let me try using a different. Let me open it.
Patricia, you're on mute.
Okay, super. Are we good? Okay, fine. So the presentation I'm sharing, as I had said before, was one that I had done for a Black Friday presentation for Visa, but the information is very relevant for the conversation we're having around how to grow your hustle into a brand. And I think that's what I'm just gonna generally use. So I'll just prompt you, Anne, as I speak. So the statistics already shows that businesses are going online. I think during COVID, we already saw many people using platforms like WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and mainly WhatsApp, I would say, because even the group that I generally run is a WhatsApp group, and every morning people are sharing their sales for the day, basically. What are they selling online? So we're seeing 65% of online sales are being done on actually mobile devices. So it's imperative that we do go online, and we're very clear, like what Esther showed us, in terms of the quality of the images that we're sharing, and to be honorable, our response time, honest, what you say you're selling is what you're delivering. You have to think about return policies. I think that we talked about that. And basically to share stories on how well you've been doing. So customer stories and etc. But without knowing who, which is the third slide, without knowing who you are speaking to, it is very difficult to build a brand online, I would say. I think one of the things that I speak about a lot is you must know who your avatar is. Knowing your avatar is like the same way we can say, when we're talking about BBI, you keep hearing them talking about Wanjiku. The reason why they say that is when you speak in sales, when you speak to somebody, it's a specific person. If it's a woman, for example, we at Kayana, we speak to women who are between the ages of 25 to 35. We usually try to keep the range within 10 years maximum, or 13 if you go a little bit further. Why is this important? Because it actually dictates a couple of things. It'll dictate the channels with which you sell on. It'll dictate the language with which you use, of course, when you're selling. And you'll also know specific things around that demographics that is happening, which you can then, focus your sales or your product on. So speaking of which, a good example I like to give is you wouldn't use a channel like TikTok to talk to a 70-year-old man or woman. Generally, they probably wouldn't even know what TikTok is. So understanding who you're speaking to is extremely important, and that is the beginning of brand building. The second thing that I would say is extremely important is what solution are you offering? People are buying a product for you because they have a challenge, they have a problem, and you're offering the solution to them. I heard somebody speak about Mitumba because I've actually bought Mitumba from the WhatsApp group, Pat's Biashara group, from a lady on the group, and she's very, very clear on her demographics, and also on the product that she offers. It is beddings and it's sheets, it's good quality. That's why I heard the first time I heard the word camera. And I must be her audience because what she was selling, the words that she was using attracted me so much so that I actually made a complete sale and it was delivered to my house. So you must know who the who's that? You have to know who your demographics is, and you have to speak directly in the language that they understand, right? And then another thing I feel that in terms of building brand, and even in your hustle, some people say this is just a hustle, I shouldn't maybe take it seriously. I think COVID has shown us how important it is to build a serious side hustle, because many of us actually survived on our side hustles during this season. Thank you, Anne. And indeed, we're going to the next slide. So let's see, talking about your avatar. How old are they? Yeah, sometimes when you're thinking about this exercise, and this will be shared on the group, give her or him a name, depending on who your audience is. So you ask, who is she? Where does she live? What does she like? What does she do in her spare time? How old are they? As I've told you, a 15-year range is about the span in branding that we talk about. What are they spending your money on? Because whatever they're spending the money on is competing with whatever you are selling. Go even to deeper details. What movies are they watching? What music do they listen to? As the deeper you go, the more you're likely to communicate to them. A lot of the online influencers have actually, captured this to a T, and that's how they build their online following. Super. So quickly, as we go straight to the things that you should do before you embark on selling to them. One of the things I'd like to talk about, and I think because I don't want to repeat what Esther said in terms of sales and in terms of quality of images, etc. The thing that I'm going to add to her presentation is speaking around a sales event and how important for small businesses and micro businesses, this is extremely important to piggyback on some things that are happening in the country or in the area in which you live. Sales events can be created even by yourself. For example, we just finished I think on the 27th of June, we discovered it was small Business Month. How did we discover at Kayana that it was Small Business Month? It's because of the clients and the avatars that we follow. Some of them are actually big brands, including Google and Visa, etc. So if you look and you're guided by what they're doing with their own brand, then you know that because these are the people that I'm listening to, that I'm following in terms of what they're offering to my community, what special offers do Facebook, do Google have for small and micro businesses? Of course, when it comes to small business day or MSME day that was actually declared by the UN, it came up, up my radar. And that is how last weekend we were only talking about small business days and how small business is big business. And of course, people who are in small and micro businesses were then listening to what we were saying. We also at that same time launched a listing, which I also shared on the group, which is a listing of over 700 small and micro businesses. And we launched it on the 27th, the same date, 27th of June, because already the noise was being made around that product. So, hey, why not launch these products during that time? And people who will be following those hashtags may want to know, where are those small businesses, where are those micro businesses that are in Kenya? And lo and behold, you'll get a listing of 700 small and micro businesses. So writing on what is happening on an event that is happening during that season can also drive great sales in terms of your business and in terms of you doing your business online. So some of the examples that I thought of was in January, we have, of course, the back to schools. Same thing, I've seen it, especially on the WhatsApp groups. When it comes to back to schools, you'll see somebody who last month was selling shoes, etc. This month, they put all their products in terms of school, masks, backpacks, pencil sets, etc. That is somebody who's riding, who knows her product selection and is riding on. Of course, I'm speaking to moms with young children who will be sending their children to school and will require these things. And she sends those products during that season of time. The next month is February. February is Valentine's, Day. So she'll change. The same business will change their offering and now share products that are relevant to what is going on during that season. And we've seen it happen on a lot of WhatsApp groups. But you also see what happens when people send you things that are irrelevant to you. Then you just see people exiting groups. You see the content is no longer speaking to them, and your customers will just leave. Some of us even are in WhatsApp groups especially for women in business. I can tell you I'm in quite a number of them, and they're on mute simply because there's just too much. I will find somebody has shared one thing on this group and is just sharing across all the platforms I'm on. Yet some of them are not really for business. So I think even just being able to pick what you're sharing within those WhatsApp groups, I'm using WhatsApp a lot because I know many of us trade on that, but even just selecting what to send. Maybe on one group, you can sell your offering. The other group, maybe it's a more chatty group. So you'll talk about a little bit, how are people doing? How are your sales doing? I'm in the business of selling children's apparel. You see, you're still selling, but you're speaking and people are able to connect with your challenges. So that, I think, understanding that is extremely important. So once you've identified a sales event, a big event that you want to capitalize on, what do? You have understood the audience in which you're speaking to, right? So you know them by name. You have product. We don't want you to say that you're selling mobile phone accessories. You put a beautiful mobile phone accessories that is just speaking to the season, which is the season of love and Valentine's, and then you only have one product. So you certainly need to look into your inventory. You need to understand your cost of goods and your margins. Extremely important to understand where you're making money or where you're losing money. So you need to understand that, because if you have a big sales event and your product is priced wrong, you will lose a lot of money. Yeah. And then of course, determine other sources of income. If you're already, other sources of telling people about your products, of marketing, for example. If you're using WhatsApp, how about you move people onto email? Did you know that email has a much higher conversion? I think it's almost 65 conversion as compared to something like WhatsApp, which has even lower, almost 20 to 19% conversion. What is good about email is that you'll know your customer. You'll not know just the name that they operate on WhatsApp. You will know their email address, and you're very likely to then convert to even know their where they live because of deliveries. I don't know how you keep your data, but where they live, and that will determine a lot more of what you offer them as an after sales product. Yeah. And of course, we go to the thing that we're all talking about, sales channels. Oh, I don't want to be in social media. I can tell you, I was number one who used to talk about how I didn't want to be on social media. And it took me a lot of time to just sit back and think through what are the things that I wanted to present in a public space on social media. And that has determined what my public facing pages look like. For those of many people, my private pages don't even have more than 200 followers, honestly. But it was very clear. So I'm very clear on what to post on public pages, who I'm speaking to, my customers, the demographics I'm speaking to. And of course, many of them are also not just interested in knowing my personal life. And that's, I think, where we start getting trolls, etc. on. And because I'm not an influencer in that regard I don't expect people to follow my every movement. The only thing I want to be known for is speaking about small and micro businesses and women in business. And that's what you just put forward. So when you determine that, then you will not be so shy about social media. And it's a great channel. Don't only do WhatsApp, guys. Really start moving to Instagram. The conversion in Instagram is even higher. And of course, the other professional channels like LinkedIn, which will make you maybe interact with more corporate customers for those of you who are in the service industry. The next slide, part 2 of the same conversation is, we've talked about site optimization. I think Esther has more than, I'm not even an expert in that field, to be honest. And I think I'm so glad I talked after her. She's already spoken about what it means to optimize your site, how quickly it should load, where it should load on your mobile phones, etc. If you don't understand this while she's still on the call, please go back and let her explain what site optimization is and why it's really important. And then the other thing I'll still go around is in terms of bundling your hustle, bundling your products, working with partners and collaborating with other brands. I really have to speak about this because I'll tell you that we launched a product where we just put small business products all together in one box, and we called it Pat Streets, and it was launched during the COVID season. During that season, if I look at it from, maybe we'll say from April or May of 2020 to date, we have done over 3 million shillings in sales. So this tells you how important it is to bundle and partner with other products that complement your products. Of course, we have mainly corporate clients, so we sold it as a corporate product. But when you're selling things, there's no reason why, if you're in the business of selling bags, that you want to now not talk to the lady who's doing crayons or t-shirts or kids' clothes. Sometimes when you bundle products, you actually are offering great value to your customers. And I can tell you, people really are, that 300 bob or 250 shillings for delivery service is a real cost when you're buying multiple products online. So looking for partners and like-minded people, I would advise you, please do it. And especially doing it during a big sales event. Yeah. So during Easter, during Valentine's is a good time. I don't know what's coming up next. What big event is coming? But if you could bundle products that are relevant to your customer base, I'm telling you, you will see the sales increase. Yeah. Then another thing is, which we think is only for large outlets like supermarkets, is creating a, what is it called? What is this thing called? Anne, help me. Where you use your card to collect points. The word has loyalty programs, exactly. Please create loyalty programs. People love a freebie. I don't know anybody who doesn't like something for free. So, we always haggle, and we've known and we learn from our parents how important any price you're given, you must haggle on it. But imagine if you create a loyalty program where you're adding, where you incentivize people to buy multiple products from you, and if they come again, you give them something for free, etc. But this is just telling you that how seriously you have to take your business, because for you to be able to do this, it's not going to be by chance. You have to record your sales. You have to record who your customers are, what it is they're buying, and when it is they're buying. And you won't believe it, how anticipating, something like, there's a lady who does for me cakes for my family, and she just knows the birthday season in my house starts from March, and it's literally from March she'll deliver the first cake, and etc. until we finished in August, all the birthdays within my family. And so she knows that's when I've been ordering things from her. And of course, it's in her interest to keep prodding me during that time, because there's so many people who are doing cakes and other products. So understanding your demographics and keeping track of them is really great in building your brand, so that you're known as the expert, that person who provides that service in a very efficient manner to your customers. And then, of course, there are things like brand extension. I don't want to go into too much of detail, which is the next slide, which is great when you're launching a new product or you're planning for something new. There was a lady who I spoke to at an event a couple of months, maybe just before COVID, and she owned a salon. and was really grappling with a lot of competition within that space, etc. And which I just casually mentioned, what is the brand extension for your product? And it was wonderful in March when she launched now a home, like a manicure kit, which you could do, or even just treating and pampering your nails in between the season, you know, before you come back to her salon. Great product. And that's an example of a brand extension, which I think worked very well. So you remained top of mind. Of course, people are still going to salon, but even at home, for some of us who had forgotten to go, we received this wonderful product. And in between treatments, we can use it on our nails, etc. And you can do the same thing if you're in the hair industry. So understanding that it comes later once you've established your core offering. And then, of course, it's a great way to use a big sale to build the extension, or even to test a new product in the market and see if there's uptake of it. You can offer it as a freebie, or you can offer it as an add-on when they have spent more money on it. Of course, we have, you may think there's nothing like positioning in small and micro businesses. Look at that catalog that I've shared online. Look at who your competitors are. Don't live in a bubble. People are doing great things and people are building amazing brands. Many of them are side hustles and many of them from the comfort of their homes. So don't operate in isolation. Another thing that I see a lot of businesses doing is monkey see, monkey do. Whatever, oh, that looks like me too, but it looks like it's doing well. Even me, I'm going to do it, which is great if you're just, if you're really not looking at building a brand and you just want to, I'm making my next shilling. But the good thing about building a brand, and maybe this is the first thing that I should have said, the good thing about building a brand is then you're able to sell your product at a premium rate. Very, very important. And then you won't be competing with everybody out there. Small businesses can build extremely big brands. Kayana is an example of that. We are only less than 2 or 3 years old. And honestly, when people meet us, they think we're huge players within the industry. But the reality is we only started 3 years ago, but we established ourselves as a very strong brand from the beginning. And we're still learning as we go along, but it's great because whatever service and whatever product you're offering, you can offer it at a premium price, especially when you understand your niche. So yes, I think that is the end of my presentation, and I'm open to any very specific questions. You can find me, I shall type it in the chat, at kayana.org is where you'll find me. It's very easy to find me there. Asante.
Wow, karibu sana. In fact, as you're the ones who are supposed to say asante. Most welcome. That is quite enlightening. Let me just jump into the questions. I'll ask mine last. Let me see. Kindly raise your hand. Oh, I can see one hand there.
You know, it's heavy.
Hi, Beatrice. Okay. Anyone else with a question? Okay, it's like, let me ask mine. Mine is to do with I've realized both of you are very strong on having different accounts. For myself as Anno Bude, and then I also have what I do as maybe the name of the business or the name of the product is what I sell out there. My question would be to the service providers. I feel like it works quite perfectly with products. But when it comes to services, maybe I am a lawyer, for instance, or like now I'm a swim coach, and people know me as Anno Bude. Is it possible to merge the two so that I can actually still ride on my name as a trademark to sell myself?
You're not clear. You're cutting, please. You're not clear at all.
Oh,
okay. I think I may have heard what you said, Anne, and I'll just reiterate. You were asking if, for example, if you're in the service sector and, for example, you gave the example of a lawyer, and I'm assuming you mean that your hustle is a totally different thing from what you actually are doing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
no, I mean, your name is what is known out there. Like, for instance, if I give you an example, there is the company Kayana and there is Pat. But what what of those who have already built their names as a brand? So it is your name that is selling, not necessarily the product.
Okay, I'm a bit, okay, so you have sold your just to be clear, yeah? You have been in service sector in which you have used your name, right? To build a brand.
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And your challenge
Yes.
is in opening a social media page about, sorry, is it the business or your personal brand? So that I'm clear.
Not really in opening the page, but what I'm trying to say is that there's a merge. There's a very thin line between my personal life and my business life. Maybe let me give a product that is fun. Maybe event planning, where I'm a consultant in events, and at the same time, I also want to share my life experiences to sell my product. Do you think it's advisable to have that one page as me and also as my business?
Okay, first of all, people buy from people. Let's just remember that. So the more people can connect with you as a person, the more successful you're going to be in building your business. Now, the challenge we're having is how much information on our personal selves do we want to share publicly? That's the big thing. Yeah. And so you're like, I'm passionate, for example, about cooking, even if I am in the events business, right? There's no reason why you can't share that passion of cooking to a broader audience. And it's up to you to figure out how to spin it into your events business, because people are likely to connect with you on a very personal level if you share your passion for cooking. They'll be like, oh my gosh, she's like me. It's much easier to connect, on that level than to say an event that maybe you're usually at the back end or running around and you only, it's only the end product that is seen. So I would encourage, there's a lady who told me that, when you're in business, many times women, we want to leave our full selves at the door. Yeah. And this is actually, it inhibits how we grow our businesses, because we are not just that one thing. We're actually, it's everything about us that encompasses the work that we do and the businesses that we're in. But we can protect ourselves from the bullies, etc., by keeping certain hidden parts of ourselves, certain parts of ourselves hidden, but also giving the real version of yourself out there for others to see. And social media does it in a very wonderful way. You can find, for example, I like to use the Hillary Clinton's, where she's looked at as this certain kind of woman. And yet when you see her as in terms of a mother and a grandmother, you suddenly see the softer side of her. And those are all very deliberate things that are just, being released so that we only don't have one facet of the person that she is, but we can see her also as a grandmother and as a very loving mother. So these things can be done, and it's just a matter of not being so ad hoc about it, but being very deliberate in what you bring forth to the public. But indeed, I would encourage you to share at least a little bit of the things that you're passionate about, even if it's outside of the business that you're known for. We actually see people brand on Twitter, for example. I mean, he's a very successful and very serious businessman, but we can relate very well with his kind of almost jocular, almost funny side that we see on social media. But I'm sure in court, yeah, he's a serious lawyer.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lovely compliment here from Sarah. Thank you, Pat, for the wonderful insight. Thank you for recognizing my Mtush beddings, much appreciated. Her question is about the branding. Does the name of the page have to go with the picture or logo of your page?
Okay. First, that is whatever you are bringing out as your business, whatever image you show as your business must reflect the business that you are in. That's the one thing. Branding is not so much a logo. Branding is the experience that the customer will have with your product. Just remember that. So for example, if you are dealing in beddings and your name, your business just happened to maybe Sarah Wanja, for example, right? Or Wanja Sleep, or, many people will recognize the products and the images that you will show on your page before they'll even, maybe the name will remain with them. Of course, having a quick and easy name to remember is great, but you will be known as the lady who's got the great products. And I think I like to tell my customers, focus more on the value and the product that you are bringing to your customers. We can always work backwards on giving it a brand name that is easily recognizable, but those systems, that back end of the customer experience, the product is of great value, is actually for me much more important. We'll give the example of KBC's recent launch that they had, or is it relaunch? And you saw the reaction that they got with the change of the logo. And I remember somebody telling me, Patricia, if KBC can't get the logo right, yeah, then how are we to believe that they have changed certain things within the organization to reflect a more modern look that they're putting forward? And it's a good question to ask yourself. You know, that's actually true. What if they had just introduced these amazing, presenters and journalists first, and then done the launch later? You can see how it would have been a very different audience and a very different way in which they'd have been received. So when you're thinking of your brand, I think I would always advise my customers to put the logo last, focus on the solution to the product, how you're going to deliver the processes in your businesses, because that's all part of your brand experience. And then finally, of course, the look and feel of the product.
I have a question, please.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like I've just introduced a new product. It's not actually new. It's regarding.
Yes, Regina, go ahead.
Yeah, I've introduced something in Kenya, like a home fragrance, and I found that the market is not all that vast, right? And the first time I did my sale, it was very good. The second time I did my sale, it was very good. Now coming the third time and the fourth time, I think the sales declined. I tried to advertise on Facebook, on Instagram, you know, paying people to do Insta story, doing Facebook sponsored ads, or even advertising on pages where women, especially women, are many, just to get customers. So aside from the pandemic, the sales just dropped drastically. Like people lost interest, and not so much, but if I get a customer who is interested, they shy away because of the price. So I don't know, but the stuff that I sell, people really, really, really like.
Okay, thank you so much.
The comments are good. People really like what I am selling because I ship them from the UK, to Kenya. Home fragrance.
Okay, and that's the home scents or room scents, yeah.
Yeah, room scents, reed diffusers, potpourri, wardrobe scents, car scents. Yeah.
So Regina, I just want to tell you, those are the fastest moving products in our Pat Streets boxes. So there is actually a market for them in Kenya. I'd be curious to know how much documentation you're doing on who your customer is, because I just on a whim, I suspect that maybe the niche market that you're looking at may not be who you're speaking to. It sounds to me a lot like that, but I'm not sure. I'd have to know a little bit more details. But I would have you look at a couple of things. Do you have record keeping on who your customer is, right? So what kind of data do you have on them, including their age group, where they live? I'm sure you have that. If you're doing deliveries, you actually have that information. And just go and analyze it a little bit in more detail. When picking your influencers, are you looking at the demographics they are speaking to? Because room sense sounds to me like a much more mature demographic. From my own sales, when I look at it, it's for my corporate sales, we look at a much older audience, including men and women who are at least 35 years old and plus, who may not necessarily be influenced by the usual influencers. So I'd look a little bit into detail in that. But I can tell you that industry is growing, especially if it's natural products, healthy living, etc. People who don't want to use these aerosols in their houses. There's a really good market for that. It's a niche market, and these are people who spend money. So I would look a little bit into more detail and interrogate your customers a little bit more, and the solution lies there.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your answer.
I've got a question.
Yes, Vicky.
Yeah, for beginners, someone like me who I have a passion towards organic farming, would you advise someone to start where would they start? I mean, their products. When I farm, let's say like I have organic garlic, and I have a passion of making like dressing, which I would like to use with my honey. I've been also engaging myself with honey, but I don't know where to start when it comes to branding and all that. Do I also go and get the papers of organic farming, or where would you advise someone to start?
Okay, you're so lucky, Vicky, you're on this call, because my husband has just entered into the same foray, and I'll give you a little bit of how I'm supporting him. So the first thing is organic. The people who are interested in organic food or organic products are a very specific audience, right? So immediately you need to start following all those organic pages, the organic market. You know, you need to get onto social media. You will not sell organic if you're not on social media. Get onto social media, start following this really niche community, and then start going to their markets. They're very, very particular about getting your certificate. You must get it organic, start getting those CAPROs and all those certifications that are required. It's a process, but it's well worth it, because once you have that, people will pay a premium. I'll give you the example of my husband, who's doing organic gooseberries, who sells them to zucchini at less than 100 bob a pallet, and they're sold to you guys at 270 bob. So all the money is being made in zucchini, and zucchini doesn't really care if it's organic or not. But when you go into the market, those margins you can now sell at 150, which is still a great price, and you're still speaking to an audience that is very, very attuned to the reason why they're purchasing organic food. So I cannot steer away from the topic of understanding your avatar, understanding your niche. That is the core of building your product and your branding. And I'm not talking to somebody who's just trading and putting a markup. I'm talking to people now who are in manufacturing, growing product. You have to understand that niche, or you're going to lose a lot of money.
Thank you very much. Okay, can I add something else? What about where I'm battling with the field, going to setting up a place for activities like weddings and all that?
And you're still talking about organic? Sorry, you've thrown me off.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm just saying, okay, on the other hand, I've got also something else, a passion I was thinking, or rather, should I say it is coming on my way, that I should also set up, instead of organic farming, on the side, I do I have this piece of land which is off in Tala, and I think of setting up a place for weddings activities.
Which is a completely different field. Have you been in the events field before?
Never. No, I don't know. No, I don't know anything about it.
It seems good.
Yes.
I would ask, you need to do a bit more research. I think, Vicky, you need to do a little bit more research. And I mean, so the same land I'm assuming that you want to do the weddings on is possibly the same land you would like to grow your organic produce. Am I right?
Not really. The one I have a smaller one in Gom, and then the other one in Tala.
Okay. And the one in Tala is the one that you think is really great for weddings?
Yes.
Just do a little bit more research, right? Yeah, you have to just go and see what people in that industry are doing. I think you need to do quite a bit more research to determine if you're going to put the investment of creating a place in which people can come and get married. It's a great industry. They've really suffered, but now small weddings are a real niche, and people are doing destination weddings as well. But you have to do the homework and find out what people want. Who's the demographics? Who are you targeting? Who do you want to speak to? And who do you expect to come and spend money at the place you're at? And are they really spending money on that? You'd need to do a bit more research for me to help you with that.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana, Vicky. Pat, thank you so much for that. And of course, we'll still have another session for question and answer. And I'm also satisfied with the answer I got. I'll now go to the third panelist, and this will be a quick one because I'm standing in for her. So as I share, let me just share my page. Her name is Jackie, and her business is chapati making. So the name of the business is, she calls herself Online Chapati Mistress. So I hope my screen can be seen.
And you're a bit static. There's something wrong with your audio. It's a bit static.
Or network.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really cutting.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yes, that's better.
Okay, usually it gets static when I'm just about to share the screen. So now I think it has settled. So I wanted to just briefly talk about Jackie, and she runs Chapati business. And in case I'm breaking, kindly just give me a heads up. So I'll share, first of all, this is her Twitter account, what I've just shared right now. And as you can see, she has a followership of 26,000. And she's selling a product that is what, maybe 30 bucks? It's still breaking.
It's not breaking fast, it's just static.
Okay. Does it mean you can hear me or not?
Now you're better.
We can hear you. Just go on. We
Just
can hear you.
lean near your gadget, yeah.
Okay. So you can see this is Twitter, a platform that many people are scared of, and she's able to have 26,000 followers, and she's selling chapati, mandazi, pastries. So you can see when you start a business and you know your niche, like Pat and Esther have told us about also knowing who your audience is, then just use every platform you can find in your disposal and target your customers, and you'll be able to find, the more you have people in your net, then the more your turnover, the ones that are going to finally become qualified clients. So what Jackie does is she has even on her WhatsApp, she has a catalog where you can order minimum 10 pieces of chapati from wherever you are, and they'll be delivered to you. So you can imagine for such a product, and she tells you, you give her 1 day notice and she's able to bring chapati. And this is a product which you might think is so obvious. So the ideas we have, always know that whatever the idea is, just be able to brand it. Like you can see the pictures on her page, you can see the samosas. Let me go to her Facebook page to break a bit because it's trying to open. Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay,
yes,
so you can see this is back to product photography. She takes live pictures of her mandazis, the way they look. No, what do we call these things that we put on our faces and we all look like Kardashians? Filters. No filters. You make sure your product is well done. Like Esther said, to avoid trolls also, you make sure what you advertise is what you deliver. So she's able to advertise herself also on Facebook. And then you can see already someone has asked how much and she responds on time. So these are kind of the practical parts of what you just learned today. Making sure you're visible, your brand is known by being the same. Like you can see the picture she has here on Facebook is quite similar to the picture that she had on hers on Twitter. Then what I like most about her is when we come to YouTube, I pray it opens. Please tell me I'm visible.
Yes, you're visible. We are seeing.
Awesome. Okay. So you can see her YouTube page. YouTube is a place maybe you'd think is for actors and people who can maybe sing. But look, she has used YouTube also to showcase her chapatis. I like the fact that she has short videos. You can see the first one is a five-minute video of mandazis. Let me just scroll down. So how to make very soft mandazis. So you look at the pain points, and that's what you bring to the front. So people don't like hard mandazis. So a selling point is very soft mandazis. And then welcome to Chapati Mistress Kitchen. So sometimes the days we usually say that the business is use those days to create a video because you're not busy online or you're not busy serving a client. And then also the question I asked about how to separate my fun life, because like most of you have come to know me, Maureen especially, I live the life and eat it with a big spoon. So I also need to have balance of what do I share online and what do I want others to know about me. So she uses that to also strengthen her business. When she's like now, for instance, meet my assistant manager. So this is a 12-minute video that the third one that she's actually showing her assistant manager, and in it she's also going to explain. So you, at your own time, just Google Chapati Mistress, and that's the common name, and you'll see how everything we're being taught she's practicing. She would have been here with us, but she was not able to. But I made sure that I will represent her. So in short, know that every platform you can find a way, you can find your niche in it and use it to market yourself and to make sales. Okay, now to our final panelist, Wangui. Wangui, are you in the house?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
We are very well, thanks. Karibu
fine.
sana. Let me just give a brief intro of Wangui before we proceed. It's funny that when I was called upon to moderate this event, I bump into a name of a childhood friend. So Koi, you'll be in my life for a while. So, all right, so Koi, Wangui is in the insurance space. Her name, Wangui Karanja, 14 plus years in the insurance industry. She's worked with an insurer, she's worked with a broker, and now finally she's running her own insurance agency. Her dream is to have value, to create value in the financial services space. So the reason why we should be eager to listen to Wangui, okay, first of all, her company is called Demystify Insurance Agency. There were many questions that the ladies had in line with NSSF, in line with insurance, how to insure their businesses, retirement, and so on and so forth. So for this final one, it will be a bit interactive. So Wangui, I'd ask you to brief us on exactly what your gig is, and then from there we can take off.
Thank you for the introduction, Anne. As you've rightfully put it, I've been in the insurance space for 14 years, actually slightly more than that. So I worked for a company, an insurance company called Real Insurance, that is now part of Britam. I've also worked for a brokerage firm, and now I'm running my own insurance agency. So I'd really like to, my final destination as far as in financial services is concerned, I'd want people to feel like they're, paying for value, yeah? So that is where I'm so passionate about insurance, and I honestly feel that insurance is good. So I also understand that there's also a lot of negativity around it. So I'm hopeful by the end of this session, I can be able to help you guys understand how insurance works and how it can be useful. So because insurance is seemingly complex, it's also very wide, and it's not a one size fits all kind of scenario. Everyone's needs, quote unquote, risk profile is different. So everyone's insurance needs will not be the same. And also because we can never be ready for uncertainty, even if you hire the most experienced insurance expert, insurance seemingly gets even more complicated. We can see what's happening in the world today. I mean, COVID happened, and when the industry thought they were actually prepared, yeah, it appeared that they were not. And another not so recent example was when the first terrorist attack happened in Kenya. That was sometime in September 2013. Most claims paid in both instances were actually what we call ex gratia claims, which means that they were not actually payable. So yeah, insurance is complex, and yeah, it's very important to understand how it works. So I will attempt, for now, let me attempt to answer what insurance is all about, who it's for, how it works, where it can be purchased from, and when it applies. Yeah. So who insurance is for basically means that insurance is for individuals, households, and firms. Yeah, there are different products that apply for the three sections. Yeah, and insurance basically means that it's a method by which the three classes of those groups the groups that I've given you, they are able to prevent a single event from having a very significant financial a significant financial effect on them, yeah, something that is detrimental to their finances. So how does it work? So generally, the households or the insurance individual purchases products, and then they make regular payments, which the insurance guys called premiums. And these premiums are basically prices that the insurance companies have come up with based on the probability of certain events happening amongst a certain pool of people. So insurance works this way because insurance involves a lot of imperfect information because future events cannot be predicted with certainty. So we can't really know who will have an accident per se or become ill or have their home vandalized in the next coming year. And such information is what is actually used to price the product. So it can be very hard because insurance is based on imperfect information, but it can work and it happens and it works and this happens when a certain member of the group or a group suffers a bad experience when they receive a payment from the pool of money that was collected earlier. That means, even as per the law, the entire group should have paid their premiums so that now the payment can take effect. Yeah. Then insurance can be bought. The players in the market are so many here. We have more than 50 companies who are able to provide insurance. There are more than 200 insurance brokers. There are more than 11,000 insurance agents, and all these are licensed, to provide that service. So I'd recommend that you go with someone who understands your needs and also understands the market. So just to conclude for this session, I'll say that it's always, like, personally, I advise my clients that because insurance is a balance between your needs and your budget, you can't go for something that's perfect because it will cost you. It will definitely cost you. So go with something that works for you based on the needs, based on the risks, your needs and the risks that you're exposed to. As I mentioned earlier, we are not all the same. I'm different from the next person. So it's always advisable to get somebody to guide you through the process. And then also as another thing, insurance is a business just like any other, and it must make business sense. And all the various products come with certain terms and conditions that apply. And that's where I think the issues come about, because people don't know what they're getting themselves into. So because another thing also, because insurance is based on the law, every insurance policy is a contract that is legally bound. So parties involved must meet the terms of that agreement. And that is how the insurer, who is regulated, is able to meet its obligations, because if they're not serving the customer, the regulator comes in. The same way the insurance company must meet the obligations, the client must also meet the terms of what they're supposed to do. Yeah. So because like any other contract, an offer is made and then accepted, and then a consideration, which is in form of payment, or a promise to pay, is given. Insurance is actually a contract. Yeah, so you must know what you're getting yourself into. And lastly, okay, maybe a few points, and then I conclude. You must deal with someone who can guide you, who you trust, someone who's aware of all the options available. This way you can spend less and actually pay value for money. I'll give you an example per se. Like if you need like a financial guarantee or a bond, most of these are given by banks. Many people don't know that insurance companies can actually provide the same at a cheaper amount. So if you get the same bond from a bank, it's actually more costly. If you have someone who knows how to guide you through getting a financial guarantee through the bank, it comes in handy. Some of these bonds may be just for anyone who may not be so sure what they're about, and guys who are in tenders are things like bid bonds and custom bonds and performance bonds, security bonds, such bonds that are required for financial guarantees. Insurance companies are able to provide products that are otherwise known as bank products. Yeah. So another thing people think is that they can benefit from insurance. That's not the case, because you cannot buy insurance to pay for either a hospital bill or something, or for an event that has already happened, like a lost item or an accident. In simple terms, that is actually fraud. So people don't understand how insurance takes over. It has to be purchased before the event has actually happened. Yeah. So, and insurance are not always the bad people. Sometimes they actually pay claims in instances where there is no coverage. So it's always important to have a conversation with them. They're approachable. Yeah, most cases people think they're bad, but they're actually approachable. So yeah, have a conversation with them and explain yourself. They can actually pay for something that would have otherwise not been paid. So briefly, I'll also just talk about the government-run programs rather, which are in form of social security, like the NHIF, and SSF, yeah? So they basically provide, there's protection measures which are meant to promote the welfare of the population and protect them from any economic and social distress. They're sponsored by the government, where people still make contributions and then benefit from them later. So to conclude, I'll just say that it's very important to understand how your business operates, as there are some insurance covers that come in handy when you're actually obligated by the law. You know, for example, if you're running a business, you're liable to the public. If you're a baker and something, you know, happens and you maybe burn, and then the fire spreads to a neighbor, you're actually obligated to pay the damages that happen to the neighbor's property. You know, if you have a car, you know, you run somebody down, the third party should be compensated. If you have a business and you make a bad decision, you're sued, insurance can come in handy. So maybe for now, I'll conclude there and just let guys ask questions based on how they feel they'd want me to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wangui. Wow, that was, in a nutshell, you've covered basically everything that pertains to insurance. So I'll welcome questions right now. I ask you ladies just to give me a little bit of your time as we wind up, but I wouldn't want to leave out anything, any stone unturned. Let me see whether there are any in the platform. Okay, there's one from Alex. Wangui Karanja, could you please share your contact? Okay, yes, Wangui, kindly share your contacts on the chat.
Okay, I'll share it on the chat. I'll share my contact details on the chat. Thank you.
Okay, karibu sana. The one question I would have that came up 2 weeks ago in one of our flash chats was of a building that was demolished in a commercial space, where one of our moms, one of the women in this platform had her office, or rather her shop. So if for instance she was insured, do you think the insurer would have paid for that?
Actually, Anne,
yes,
just a correction on that. It was not demolished, but it fell, like it literally fell on its own. So that's like a natural disaster.
Oh, thank you.
Was it really a natural disaster? Because a natural disaster is caused either by floods or
okay, not natural per se, but I was just trying to say that it was not literally demolished, but the building just collapsed and went down.
So that there's definitely some element of poor workmanship, which is actually an exclusion in insurance. So if a building, who owns the building? Was it the lady whose building collapsed, or she was a tenant in the building?
She was a tenant in the building, and from what she says, the owners of the building had been given notice about 2 years ago and 1 year ago, but they didn't do anything about it.
You see, there's a history. That means it had already been earmarked for demolishment, but somebody somewhere ignored that, and then now it happened. The repercussions happened. So it's always so important to obey what the government is saying, because it can affect how your claim is paid. If there was an element of the building was not made to the standards of the construction industry, it means that there was poor workmanship, which is actually an exclusion in insurance. So for her, she needs to sue because the owner of the building is obligated by law to take care of the public and the public property. So she needs to make that claim. It can actually be honored if she sues and it's taken to court. She can actually be paid for compensation.
Awesome. There's another question here. Also, do you handle any investment products within your insurance agency?
I do, but right now I like focusing on a product that I know called Mansa that has higher returns, and it's actually regulated. I know there's been a lot of issues about how a lot of financial companies are not like the Cyton scandal. I'm sure everyone has heard about it. That is actually regulated and they have a lot of information about it. However, to answer your question, I deal with investment products, but I'm focusing right now on the Mansa product because I feel it has better returns.
Okay, kindly type for me the name on the chat so that
I'll do that.
Can get it. I'm hoping you've also written your contact. Okay, I'm sharing some emails here, but this is not to mean that we've ended. We are almost ending though. I've just thought to share those emails so that in case there's something any of us has missed out on, we know where you can reach us. And yes, in case you need maybe contact of one of the panelists, we are able to assist on that. We'll be sure to share every document that has been spoken about here, both the presentations and any referrals that have been mentioned. Before we leave, I'd like to have one of us, Madam Emma, to share her experience. It's just a short testimonial of her journey on the online gigs that she's doing, her company being Jay's Collections. Am I right, Emma?
Jay's Essentials.
Oh, Essentials. I thought I was wrong. Jay's Essentials. And yes, she's walked this journey with Kala and Yamam Sokos and many other people who have impacted her life. So let me just start by asking you, just share with us how you began and the strides that have made you reach where you are right now. This will not take long.
Okay, I'll just take a few minutes. So my entrepreneurship journey began in 2014. And I was introduced to business by just a random stranger that I met on Facebook, who is currently my friend. And when I started, I used to resell some of the products that he was selling. And at that time, I was actually in campus. So I was not even getting in touch with any of the products. My work was just to advertise and put a markup. In case I get the clients, he would do the delivery and send me my cut. So within no time, I started doing the imports myself, marketing and selling. And yeah, in 2 years, I think 1 year or so, I had opened a shop. And yeah, that's how I started. And I'm still learning along the way, but I'm still here.
Awesome. Maybe you can, out of what Esther Pat Wangui and myself have shared regarding the gig economy, what could you say were areas that you wished you knew about before that maybe ukachomeka kidogo, like just one example of something you did not know that made your business graph go down?
I think I'll mention two major ones which are having a very high effect on my business at the moment. The first one is consistency. Like consistency plays a big role, especially in the online business. Because like for now, I'm running a shop, yes, but that's just like a pickup point, a drop-off point. But I mainly run the business online. So the consistency of posting every day, keeping up with the clients, showing real images, like literally growing the brand from day one. Because I don't think I had much knowledge about consistency kitambo, but that I'm just trying to practice it nowadays. And then, because I feel like if I had done it when I started, or at least a few years later, I would be much farther than I am today. Then another one that I can't remember who mentioned, but about getting very unique products for yourself. Because like right now, I'm majorly in the business of selling household items, and I would say the market is a bit saturated, but getting very unique products ensures that you still remain with your customers at the end of the day, not the copycat business, which I'm also a culprit of. Yeah.
Awesome. I like the fact that these forums are actually not in vain. We are actually learning. And Emma, thank you so much for always showing up, because I always tell women, even as trainings are being done and everything, there is what is taught, then there is what you go and practice, then you come back and learn more. Because even as we continue to learn these things, some of them seem very, what's it called, common sense, or rather very obvious. But those are the things that actually make the difference. Is there anyone else with a question before I give Jennifer? We are actually two of us moderating. She's doing a good job at the back end.
I have another comment.
Okay.
This is about something that Esther mentioned about you shouldn't make people beg for information. I see a lot of times maybe a page or a business is advertising for something, then they don't have the prices there, they don't have the sizes, they don't have the colors. Like you have to keep inboxing and inbox for price, inbox for this, inbox for this. Sometimes you find like on Instagram, someone might see the message request 2 weeks later and you've lost that client. So display as much information as you can about the business, about the products that you're selling or the service.
That's a very strong point. I like two things you've said. Number one is make sure you specialize, and then now you've added displaying the price. What I've seen also with what Chapati Mistress is doing, apart from just having normal chapatis, she adds a flavor to it. She has ginger chapatis, she has malenge chapatis, and so on and so forth. And each poster has a price to it. Asante sana, Emma, for your time, for accepting to share your experiences. Jennifer, if you can hear me, karibu.
Thank you so much, Anne, for being an amazing moderator. So I am just going to speak about how, as Mtoto News, you have been able to use the digital technology to build one of the fastest growing media houses in child focus, let me add, media houses in Africa. So quickly, Mtoto News is, let me see if I have my slides on. Just give me a second. So I'm just going to go there. So we are a media house that focuses on children. And I need to say this before people start asking me, what is this I'm telling to them to enroll their children. So we are Mtoto News International, making children visible. So we are in an integrated information and media company that is leveraging on technology to improve the lives of children. Basically, as I've heard people say, we started on Twitter 4 years ago at the corner of my dining table, and we have grown to be an authority when it comes to children, media, and technology. So digital does work. So our vision is a world where children are seen as players and not as spectators, making children visible. That's why we exist, to improve child well-being by leveraging on technology. So we do this through three things. Sorry about that slide, it went a bit off. We create content on children in different ways, including audio, video, written materials, infographics. We also train journalists on ethical reporting, child participation. We feel that children should be seen as players and not as spectators. Hence, we capacitate them, create platforms, and allow them to participate. We are working to create a child-led initiative where children take lead in matters that are affecting them. We do research on technology and child participation, specifically ensuring that children are participating. So on that corner, without going into details, if you have questions, I can answer later. We run a training every holiday. And the training is we train children on digital literacy. We train your child on journalism, on how to write stories, quality stories. We'll train them on how to do videography. We'll train them on how social media, on fake news, okay, on how to use data to tell their stories. And some of the best practices, I forgot to put a photo here. We've had children engage at the UN. We've had children engage at the AU level with local media houses. So some of our children are known for that. One of our children got a Yale University scholarship. She's going after her 4th form to Yale for that, just after our training, because we told them to be very critical and very critical on issues and to be able to come up with solutions. So we have a training coming up in August, 3rd to 6th. And this is, we understand some of the children will have open school. So we are figuring out, we're going to do it over the weekends in August. So throughout the month of August, I've just dropped the link for registration on the chat. So if you can see, just give me a second. Okay, I think it's not clicking. Okay, I will share as soon as I stop sharing, because I need to move from one channel to the other. So that apart from the training, I'm going to move very fast. As part of our social enterprises, we provide services such as social, there it is, there is a link. There is a link. If you can see, if you can go to Bitly, you can do, let me just copy this and put it in the chat. There it is. Apart from that, we provide services. So we have a cost sharing space, cost sharing. So we can provide, this is part of helping us get money to run our work. We do a lot of our work. We're a business, we're a social enterprise. So part of our social enterprise is this Ekaya. We provide these services. We also provide digital services, like we do videography. We have a studio. This is like our launch studio, where we can, if you have a show, if you want to run a show, or if you want to hold a show, we'll do that. We'll come with its full-fledged studio with videography, photography, and personnel. Okay, sorry, Anne, I am finishing up. So co-working space, very cozy place for you to sit down and do your work. If you need a boardroom, we have all equipped boardroom plus food if you need food. Yes, and social media support. If you need social media, digital media, we do provide that. Thank you so much, Anne, for the opportunity.
You're most welcome, Jennifer, and definitely seeing that any product can actually thrive in the gig economy and online. You're a living proof, because there are some people who believe that there's some products that do not do well online, and I see you have gained a lot of traction online. What I'll do for now, allow me to just quickly post each panelist's name and what they do, so that when you're looking for them on other online platforms, maybe Facebook, LinkedIn, just to connect with them, it makes your work easier. Even as I hand over the meeting right now to Maureen, I'd like her to give the parting shot, and I'm sorry for taking up a bit of your time. Maureen,
yes, I was trying to find my mute button. Thank you so much, Anne. I think I'll just say a quick round of thank yous. Thank you so much, Carla, for facilitating this event, the panelists and the participants who've stayed up long, and at least I've learned a lot. And thank you so much for the great event. Oh,
wow,
Anna,
that was short and sweet.
Yes, short and sweet.
Karibu sana. It's now 6 minutes to 10, and I believe you have forgiven me. And thank you so much to all our panelists. Thank you so much to all the attendees, both on this Zoom platform, on YouTube, on Facebook, and we'll be having more of this. So this is just a beginning of many. And I'd like to wish all who are in Kenya a good night. Those who are in other countries, good morning, good afternoon. Kwaheri.
Good night.
Thank you, and good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you and good night.
Karibu.
It's 8 o'clock here.
Where is that?
UK.
Mm.